Recording. Okay, welcome to the podcast. Episode 1, Season 1. Toby is pouring some libation.
Libation?
Libation. It's called. That's another word for drink. That's how they called it in Shakespeare's time.
Interesting. Prost. What do they say in Shakespeare time?
How come you have twice as much as I do?
Because you said a small one, and I need to understand the tasting notes. So are you going to talk?
I'm sorry.
Or are the guests just going to
just
listen
gave
to
me a
you
drink.
drink scotch?
You just gave me a drink.
Sorry.
Okay, today we're going to talk about Shakespeare's Hamlet. So my premise is that all of Shakespeare's plays are comedies, and I'm going to explain to you why I think Hamlet is the biggest one.
As in the most comedic.
The most important one, and also the most political one.
So in that you mean, of all of Shakespeare's tragedies, Hamlet is the least
It's the
least tragic of the tragedies.
It's the most tragic for the main character. So the fun thing about Shakespeare is that for some reason we think that when we go to see a tragedy, the tragedy is supposed to be our tragedy. We identify with the main character, but in Shakespeare's time, the tragedy was Hamlet's tragedy, and it was going to be our fun, so to speak.
Okay, but isn't it normal to identify with the main character? Is that not the point of the protagonist?
That's a very good question, Toby. And
You sound surprised.
I almost.
I'm in university, so.
Yeah, that's right. You're twice as smart as I am. No, the reason why I'm saying that is that we do nowadays identify with our main characters, even in athletics or on television or in movies. But back in Shakespeare's days, no such thing existed. Identification didn't even exist. Consciousness did not exist. The individual did not even exist. So the idea of imaging yourself as someone else did not exist. People were very aware of the fact that the king is the king and you will never be the king. The nobleman is the nobleman and you will never be the nobleman. If you're a worker, you are a worker. You were born a worker and you will die a worker. So the reason why people went to see plays was to have, first of all to have fun, but to actually laugh at the upper classes.
Well, I think that's an interesting place to start because I was discussing this little podcast idea with a few of my friends, and one of my friends was very confused as to the importance of even understanding Shakespeare. What's the point? As in, why are you even reading Hamlet again? You read it in high school. You're now reading it during your quarantine at 2 a.m. Like, what's the point? And my initial response was to understand the history, but also to understand the relevance to modern storytelling that we gain from Shakespeare. But I think you're taking more of a historical approach in that you're understanding the time period. And
no, the point is that... So this podcast is called Brainwash, right? So the reason it's called Brainwash is because my plan is to wash the listener's brain and clean off all their inhibitions and presumptions. So Shakespeare, to me, is one giant misconception, and it's important because we are all programmed, and we are programmed with language, and language is what Shakespeare created. So the reality he has brought us is of essence to our being as a human, as an individual. So we are programmed to learn about I was not, but most people who are listening to this were programmed to speak and listen, speak and write English, and the influence of that language is very significant on the culture, on how we live. So modern day Darwinistic capitalistic culture is a direct result of the English Anglo-Saxon culture. So it's important to go back to Shakespeare because that's the root. I'm not going to say the root of all evil, but it's the root of what our culture has grown into. So if we can disarm Shakespeare, so to speak, we can hopefully get people to think more creatively over the life we are leading now. So that's the that's the idea behind it.
Sure. So in understanding Shakespeare, you understand some of the conventions of modern culture.
If you're able to see an alternative interpretation and you understand it, it helps you think more critically about, for instance, about the market economy we live in now. How did we come to live in a country where everybody kind of wants to be living like a king or a queen? If you think about it, if you think about what people want nowadays, they all want a house with a driveway with their own car. They want basically the same lifestyle kings had many, many years ago. They want to be taken care of. They want to be able to walk into a house with a monumental entrance. They want to have their own carriage. So it's there's a few elements in there that are still prevalent today, and those elements are, what I said, being programmed into us, not only through Shakespeare but also through fairy tales, through the Bible, all of which are stories about kings, queens, upper classes, and so we identify with all these upper classes, and we think in a way in ourselves that we actually are upper classes, which is a fantasy, because there's no such thing as an upper class. That's bullshit. We should have to get rid of that.
Sure.
All right. So go back to Hamlet. So the reason why I think Hamlet is the biggest comedy is that one of the major elements of the play is never being addressed in any Anglo-Saxon performance, and that's the fact that the play takes place in Elsinore. So Elsinore is an island in Denmark, and Elsinore is right on that spot where Denmark and Sweden are in the closest vicinity. The people who lived in that castle had built a luscious, ginormous palace for themselves based on the revenue generated by extracting tolls from traffic sailing by, going from Europe to the Baltic or vice versa. So all these trading nations in the North Sea, England, Belgium, France, Netherlands, Denmark, all their shipping had to pay tolls going through the Sand and going back. There's actually an archive, you can look it up. The archive shows you that it's a registration of all the ships that went through since the 1500s up until the 1850s or so, when they stopped doing that. So you can actually see who went through the Sand during Shakespeare's time, what the name of the captain was, what his freight was, what the size of the ship was, how much toll they paid. These were the billionaires of those days. So people did not like these people. They were basically mobsters trying to extract people from innocent travelers. That's how they were considered. The funny thing was they did build a ginormous castle based on the money they made from the toll. So there's no way people were looking up to these people, and there was no way people admired these. In those days, they would be the billionaires of the day, so to speak, the top 0.1%ers. So imagine people in England, and again, so we're talking about London in the late 1500s, early 1600s. It was a fairly insignificant small town. There was a lot of talk and gossip going around. So every time a ship came back from the Baltic, that was the talk of the town, and they were like, "Oh, this good at this time. How much did this good at this?" Blah blah blah. In addition, Hamlet, the name is derived from a Nordic a folklore character called Hamlet without an H. Hamlet. He was a trickster, a doofus, so a goofball, so to speak. So he was already a person to make fun of. And so what Shakespeare did basically, he's actually a big bully if you think about it. He puts Hamlet out on a stick for the audience to see, and they are just having their fun with him. So everybody in the play is in on the game. So when you see this, when the play starts, the first scene is on a platform in front of the castle, which means that they are actually overlooking the Sand and overlooking to see if there's any ships going by. That has nothing to do with guarding the castle, because you guard the castle from inside the castle, not from outside. The outside reason is because then they can send in the tenders to pick up the money. And these guys, Horatio and Brabantio, those are the first two characters you see. They are in it, and so they already are in the scheme Shakespeare set up to make Hamlet's life miserable. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm listening. I just think, well, first of all, you're saying it's based on the whole audience also being in on the joke, but then you say something like, there are, in the text, it says they're guarding the castle.
It says...
in the opening scene, we open on Horatio and...
It says, Elsinore, a platform before the castle.
Yeah. So that's one to assume, I guess. But you're saying no one from this time period would assume they're guarding the castle, because you guard the castle from the inside.
No,
and that's common knowledge.
No. What I'm saying is that if nowadays, if people perform Hamlet, they assume that they are guarding the castle.
Yeah.
They assume that these people are servants of the king and servants of Hamlet.
Sure.
But what I'm trying to say is that Bernardo and Francisco were already in on the joke against Hamlet. So because it doesn't make any sense. These were supposed to be his college buddies. Why would they be standing guard outside the palace?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
And it's Horatio as well, right? And he's meant to be like...
Oh, he comes up later, so he can...
Clever,
yeah,
scholarly.
Horatio and Marcellus come in later. And
just like your son.
Yeah, just like my son, who was also in the Wittenberg of Europe, so to speak. Anyway, so they I think these guys, you should imagine these guys are just jokey college tough guys.
Just dicking around.
Dicking around, yeah, exactly. But the reason why we are looking at the text differently nowadays, because we think these are ancient texts. So we give the text reference, just like we give reference to Aristotle and Aeschylus and Homer.
We place them on a pedestal of almost pretentious levels.
Exactly. Homer was also, I mean, it's another story, but Homer was... You can also look at Homer as a comedy.
Okay. But that's what makes Shakespeare unattractive to a lot of people, is that pretentious aura.
Exactly. That's what. That's why I don't like to watch Shakespeare, because it's pretentious. It's self-indulgent. It's elitist.
Self-congratulatory.
Self-congratulatory. It's the I mean, I hate to say this as a non-English speaker. I think the English have used people like Shakespeare to express their own superiority over the rest of the world, because they were the first Nazis, so to speak. They were
Jesus.
the first Nazis. Well, not in that. They were not Nazis. Well, they did invent concentration camps and the idea of the Übermensch. Look at Darwin. He created his own. By breeding, he tried to create superhuman beings. Remember when he was trying to set up his clan and his family? Selective breeding. Yeah.
But I think most common people understand the insanity of the British Empire. The sun never set on the British Empire, so clearly they did a lot of conquering. But back to the play. So scene 1, we're introduced to this ghost-like figure that is meant to be the king.
It doesn't say anything about who it is. It's
no, but we've later come to assume who it is.
Because we have constructed his own story. But so if you have you know who Fortinbras is, right?
Yeah, the other king.
All right. So imagine that Fortinbras came up dressed up as a ghost.
Yeah.
How would that change the play?
Well, he would. I guess the role of the king is to motivate Hamlet in the play. Correct.
That's
Young
what you learn.
That's what you learn in high school.
High school, yeah. What do they know? You know.
I know, but I'm just. Hey, I'm giving my. Hey, sir, this is my interpretation.
That's true. You're being
subjective.
You've been brainwashed.
This is what the YouTube videos I watched last night explained to me.
Oh really?
No. I like that's kind of how that ghost is kind of interpreted now. Is it's the ghost of King Hamlet, Senior, I guess you would say. And he sends young Hamlet on this goal to like avenge the death of his dying father, where Fortinbras comes into play is Hamlet, when he runs into Fortinbras, has that moment of realization of seeing young Fortinbras fight for his country when they're going to Poland. We're in Act 3 now.
Oh, sorry.
So essentially the parallel between Fortinbras and Hamlet is failing his father's wishes for most of the play. He's not avenging his father. He's not doing anything. And Fortinbras is actually avenging his father, is essentially the parallel that I drew between those characters. Fortinbras is a soldier, whereas Hamlet does nothing and gets banished to England, quote unquote. That was my interpretation. So I would imagine if King Fortinbras was really the ghost at the beginning, then... Yeah, I don't know. I think Hamlet's motivation would be much different.
No, no.
Or the same, actually.
It's from Hamlet. It's the same. He can still believe it's his dad.
Yeah.
But if the audience knows it's Fortinbras, if Fortinbras was Fortinbras,
okay. Now I see what you're saying.
Fortinbras speaks on behalf of us. He speaks on behalf of Europe. Everybody wants to get rid of the Danes.
Okay.
It's true.
In this.
No. In this society.
Not in 2020.
No. In the late 1500s, everybody was like. They've tried many times to get rid of them because they're so strategically positioned that it's hard to conquer that little island. So and they also built a ridiculous fortified castle.
Yeah, the Germans wanted Denmark,
and they had the latest technology. So the reason why the reason why they started doing this it was in the 1550s, 60s, around that time was that was the time when they had guns who could actually shoot precisely and hit the ships who hit moving targets, because before that the guns they were just used to pound city walls, but now they could actually shoot precise projectiles precisely at a ship.
You're off topic, but
well, it's
yeah, I understand. It's important. I think I get your point though, because now Fortinbras, who's king of Norway, just to clarify, for someone who hasn't read since high school, if he's the ghost at the beginning, if we're gonna make that assumption, then it does change the whole show, because then he, without giving any away spoilers, he gets what he wants at the end of the...
Exactly. We want to get rid of the Danes. So what he wants is... I can imagine him showing up, pretending to be the ghost, and Hamlet is like a doofus.
But he's dead.
Who?
King Fortinbras.
No, the younger one.
Oh, you mean young... Oh.
The younger one.
So you think it's not a ghost at all?
No, of course not.
No, but at other points in the show, Hamlet sees the ghost, and he's the only one that can see it.
Yeah, and
that's at that point he's just batshit insane.
No, but that's a good point, because if you look at the critics,
plugging holes in your theory.
No. If you look at the critics, they have been wondering about that too, because there's no point in him being there. But I think if you look at it from a comedic point of view, and you see him Fortinbras dressed up like a goat, and everybody's like, and then the audience gonna be it's like I mean, I'm sure they were like crying from laughter, because it must be the funniest thing ever. Yeah,
I guess, but for it to open the play with, how funny is that? Because we don't know who Fortinbras is. We don't know any of these things, right?
Of course we do.
But how?
First of all,
I'm an audience member. It's scene one act.
It's not okay.
Okay, you know what? The reveal could come later when you see the actor playing normal Fortinbras, and then you'd be like, "Oh, okay, he was fucking around."
The whole thing with
in terms of comedic.
First of all, they and this is all speculation, but there are not that many ghosts in Shakespeare's plays.
There are like creatures.
Well, yeah, they're fantasy
Midsummer Night's
creatures.
Dream.
Yeah, but there's
Fairies.
I think there's only one other ghost that's in Macbeth.
Yeah.
And so we'll get to that at some other point. But in this case, the idea of the ghosts were considered creatures from the underworld. So as you know, there's barely any openly religious connotation in Shakespeare because he was not supposed to talk about religion.
Yeah.
Other than in praising words. I mean, there's like a lot of references in it, of course, but even the display. But in general, he stays away from the hell and devil and from demons and ghosts. So the idea that he's a real ghost is harder to I think would be a harder sell for him than to have a pretend ghost in place, who is kind of in at the joke with Hamlet.
Fair.
And then also the play makes much more sense.
No,
because
definitely.
why would all these people die at the end?
Because it's tragic.
That's what we think now. Yeah, but it's a joke. Dying is a joke in Shakespeare's time. It was not right now we're so obsessed, especially right now we're so obsessed with our health and the virus and the possibility of dying when you step outside and pick up a virus. And in those days it was an everyday occurrence. People would die everywhere constantly.
Yeah, you were much more exposed to death.
Yeah.
So it was more normalized.
It was absolutely normalized, and you would go to heaven anyway. So the heaven was a real thing.
But Hamlet, the ghost of Hamlet didn't go to heaven because he was killed before being able to pray.
That's all.
He wasn't read his last rites. I know it's a Catholic thing. I don't know if they did that in England, but
wandering souls. That's not. Those are That doesn't.
Because it wasn't that
reference in the church. First of all, he could not make any Catholic references. It was a Protestant.
Yeah.
And the Protestants are
Church
very.
of England.
Protestants do not take kindly to the representation of demons, even the representation of biblical characters. You don't see any pictures of Jesus. Or
they don't have
Maria.
the stained glass in the statues.
No.
Okay. No, so in establishing Fortinbras, young Fortinbras Jr., as the ghost, that does definitely align more with what would be considered modern day dark comedic intentions. Because the way that I'm picturing it now is, you picture Hamlet, you picture the whole audience walking out of the theater like dreary-eyed and depressed, you know?
Today.
Yes, today.
Yeah.
When I go to Shakespeare in the Park, I'm meant to leave being emotionally touched, you know?
Yeah.
But you're imagining it as like, the way that I'm picturing it in your head right now is because the theater was always the highbrow people sat in the balcony-esque things, and the us meager people sat on the ground or stood in the pit, right?
The groundlings.
I imagine that pit being full of just drunk, giggling, like fun-having people, you know? It's like a more festive atmosphere.
You should,
laughing and like a comedy show even. Like
no, imagine a sports game. Imagine a game where at the end, like at the end of a football game, everybody's drunk.
Yeah.
That's where you're at. So people will get there, drink beer. I mean, have a beer. They're standing there. I mean, they're standing in their own urinal, by the way. There is no bathrooms.
Yeah.
So they were peeing whenever they wanted to pee. They probably had, there was hookers running around.
Nice.
All kinds of things going on at the same time. There was constant bad banter back and forth.
With the audience and the
actors, yeah, of course. So there's a lot of, if you look at the text, there's a lot of room for call and repeat. There's a lot of questioning from the audience, and so and also, and that's also something that people don't realize. We didn't act in those days. People did not act.
Sure.
There's like references in literature about that certain actors were able to touch people's hearts, but people did not act. They were. First of all, we don't know what they did, but we do know that the acting style we know now of it wasn't developed until the early 1900s when they when people like Stanislavski came.
Yeah.
Came up.
Okay, that makes sense. I think to move forward to this, unless there's anything from scene 1 you really want to sit on.
No.
Because I think the next moment that I find a potential disconnect between the way that we view the play now and the way that you're claiming it to be would be in the second scene, something that always resonated with me as a more sensitive boy, is when Hamlet's still mourning his father and his own mother and his now new stepfather, I guess, are pretty much telling him, like, why are you being so dramatic?
Oh, yeah.
He's still wearing black. Why must you be so difficult? I don't have the quotes. Claudius saying pretty much, man up. Don't be a bitch,
Yeah, so Claudius, right now we assume that he killed Hamlet, which is not...
Not yet in the play.
No, but in general nowadays.
Yeah, as people who understand the...
Which is not, if you look at the text closely, there's no evidence at all that he did it. His only reference is a biblical reference between Cain
and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
So it goes like Cain and Abel is like an iconic story, like
two brothers.
Two brothers killing each other, and she was like, well, I guess since we are two brothers, I must have been also.
Yeah.
But that's how he approaches this. He doesn't say anything about pouring poison in his ear.
No, but the modern reading tells us.
Yeah,
based on the ghost.
That's how we interpret it, yeah, exactly.
And based on the play within the play, and the reaction of Claudius, you're meant to believe. And in the final scene, is there not a confession from Claudius? When they're all killing each other?
Mm-mm.
Never, huh? Okay, so...
Okay, so the King Claudius, I think, so the only thing I wanted to say...
It's your podcast, mate.
It's true. The only thing I wanted to say about his soliloquy, though... Yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green.
Yeah.
And that it's just befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and blah, 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 blah. So this is like fantastic, over-the-top language. So Shakespeare here is making fun not only of the Danes, but also of the upper classes, because remember, the English language did not exist until like 100 years before that. So language was still a toy for them. So he had fun making up words, but fun putting them on the paper. So he is going over the top with an auspicious and dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage. Nobody would speak like that in those days. Nobody. Sure. People on average had a vocabulary of maybe 1,500 words, but because these words are so extreme, they must have been extremely funny.
Funny, but also maybe... if they have such minimal vocabularies, won't they not fully understand what the guy's saying? It's kind of like he's just talking bullshit.
Well, then they would probably, like, if he says with an auspicious and dropping eye, then he would be like, what's auspicious?
Oh, okay, yeah. That's funny. Just some guy from fucking Leeds in the front row. What's fucking auspicious, man?
Auspicious on you,
Yeah.
And then
your mom's auspicious.
Exactly. Exactly. In equal scale, weighing the light and dull, and then later on during the Victorian times, this was like, oh, this is how we English speak. So this is how we have been speaking for hundreds of years. We must have been. We're the chosen people. We're the people from chosen by God to rule the world. That's this based on this bullshit. They were able to uphold this ridiculous empire.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, this whole classist structure that the English have had for as long as most history books I've read traces back to is just based off of a mockery.
In Shakespeare, yeah. Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare was not part of the system.
So where art normally mimics reality, in this case, reality mimicked art. Reality became the mockery of what it was meant to be mocking.
So he basically inadvertently created a standard. Yeah. A standard language. And he is, remember that the actors in those days, they were not the underclass, they were the untouchables. They were the lower class. Mm-hmm. They had no rights. They were not supposed to be buried on sacred grounds. You could kill an actor and you would not be reprimanded.
They were at peasant level,
below peasant level.
Yeah.
They were out like outlaws, literally.
Yeah.
And so and nowadays, because there's a statue in a church somewhere and there's blah blah blah, we think that Shakespeare was part of the upper classes. He was not, by far not. He was a rapscallion. He was a
He was like Bruce Springsteen.
no.
He was a man of the people. You know, blue collar,
Lenny Bruce.
like Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce. He got arrested. He was like
Okay.
he did that.
He
too.
swore on TV and got arrested.
Yeah, he
so
was
that all other
like,
comedians
"Fuck
could
you
swear."
guys." Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what Shakespeare did. But imagine in those days the rules were much stronger. If you would say bad words, you would be
Well, of course, it's 50. Yeah.
your
Sorry.
your business would be shut down.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense. So, Hamlet's first real soliloquy then.
Oh, you mean the one?
Same scene.
Oh, sorry. Seems, but which one it is? Nee, it is.
Suicide is a sin. I wish suicide wasn't a sin, is essentially what he's saying.
Where is that?
Same scene.
Same scene.
Essentially, after Gertrude and Claudius tell him not to be whatever, Claudius goes to party, and I think Hamlet finds himself alone, and he can hear Claudius partying, because student. And,
Oh, here. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew.
yeah.
That one? Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, oh God.
So he's just being really melodramatic.
Extremely melodramatic.
But also his dad died, so, like, let's not, you know... In this circle, we don't fault people for their feelings. We fault them for their actions, you know?
you remember, in those days, people don't have feelings. There was no
Okay.
that's not a thing, no. Romantic love did not exist. Bacon, who some believe wrote all these plays, Bacon said...
Francis Bacon.
Yeah, Bacon said...
Knowledge is power.
Huh?
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, Bacon said, love, that's something that belongs on the stage. That's not something of real life.
Mm.
Love is... So the whole idea of life, empathy, and it's all... We all think because it's in the Bible, we've been doing that for many centuries. But that's all nonsense. We were, half animals in those days.
So a meager a few hundred years ago, which in human history is very little time.
Yeah.
Most our wide spectrum of modern emotion, you think, wasn't necessarily there, but creativity must have existed, right? I mean, Shakespeare was there, and isn't creativity?
Of course, but that creativity is also a word that it's of course there was everybody creates. That's not an
But also the conventions existed. The conventions of love, betrayal, anger, jealousy, empathy. These things must have existed, or else Shakespeare wouldn't be able to play off them.
I know, but
I'm going to assume that when he's going crazy over Ophelia's death, him and her brother, right? You think they're laughing at him at that point as well? The audience.
When he jumps into the grave, of course. Yeah, of course.
You think that's like the biggest punchline of the whole show? Just two dumb fucks jumping into a grave?
Yeah.
And then literally fighting?
Yeah, no, that's, I mean...
Toxic masculinity. And
of course, that's a joke. There's no... And here, nowadays, you can do like, oh, this is so...
Well, it's presented as like the ultimate, like, show of love. Much like Romeo and Juliet, you know?
Well... Romeo and Juliet is also...
Well, I understand how
Don't get me started.
That's easy to laugh at it too, but in that case, I guess that also... I think you also need to remember how old are these characters supposed to be, because when you think of a prince now, or a scholar, you think of someone maybe 26, 27 for Hamlet and Horatio and these guys.
It says it's in the play. There's some references. It looks like he's in his 30s.
And that's old.
But he acts like he's 12.
Yeah.
So that makes him kind of a doofus, no?
A bit of a jester, if you will.
A doofus, I'm not gonna say the word, but
like the guy from
someone who's a little slow.
Yeah.
And he's like also
like you watch Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah.
You know how there's the one Rick. When there's all the Ricks, there's the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something
like that one.
Something like that, or because he's also a little chubby according to his dear mother.
Yeah.
So he's someone people laugh at.
Thick king.
Huh?
He's a thick king.
Thicking?
Thick.
Oh, thick king.
Yes. Or not yet.
But anyway, where's the part about the suicide?
I think I had it off, but didn't he not say, I wish, I'm putting it in normal English, I wish suicide was not a sin. Let me go through my notes here. Wish suicide wasn't a sin, and then he gets all mad at his mom for marrying Claudius. Him speaking to himself.
Yeah.
How can my mother love my father and now my uncle? Then he gets angry at Claudius, at his mom, and then that gets angry at all women. Little women bashing from little incel-esque woman bashing from and then that's when Horatio comes to tell Hamlet about the ghost. And Hamlet agrees to take watch of them, which leads us to the next scene, by the way, where Hamlet meets the ghost for the first time, correct? Or no, Laertes. We're introduced to Laertes and stuff. But nonetheless, essentially Hamlet's just saying, I wish suicide wasn't a sin, because I'd kill myself.
Got you.
Which I think was also a nice little one-liner there for the crowd.
Yeah, suicide was not a dramatic an act as it is nowadays. First of all, we're not supposed to kill yourself. There was a direct path to hell, so people just didn't do it. And second of all, if you want to get into mental health in the Victoria in Elizabethan times, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing half of the that's nonsense. But I'm guessing people who were there had some mental issues on the stage, both on the stage as off the stage, as in both in the palaces as outside the palaces.
Yeah, kind of like today. I think the next big plot point would be, besides the early establishment of Hamlet's Ophelia Laertes relationships, we're now on scene 3 of Act 1. I mean, if love doesn't exist, according to you, in this period of time, then what's the Ophelia love line for?
I mean, sex existed.
So it's just all lust.
Well, if you read what it says...
I mean, dude, I read the summaries, so...
Oh, you read
I'm 22 years old, you know.
Alright, so if you read... what's the one? Yeah, so first of all, the name Ophelia, right?
Yes.
So Ophelia is not a name that was pulled from the classics. Shakespeare used the word letter O, the sound O, and he does it a lot. He plays with sounds. O is as in an opening from a female opening.
Okay.
And philia is there's filio is friends, but also it could be the multiple of phallus. Phalli. Oh, phalli. Oh, okay. And then if you say that, and then you make that turn it into the feminine form, it's Ophelia.
Yeah.
So she like dick, basically.
Yeah, she was a little
slut. Yeah.
Okay, she was adventurous.
But then again,
we're sex positive here as well.
Not only that, but it's a he, right? Don't forget.
Yeah, the guy was playing her.
Is a guy playing, and that's people also like forget that, because that is whether you like it or not. It's just funny to see a guy play a woman, and that's even up to today.
A guy in a dress will always make someone laugh, you know.
Yeah, look at what's her name? Tyler Perry.
Exactly,
Tyler Perry,
Medea.
Yeah.
Medea, yeah, dude, a Medea Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
I would love to see Medea do like a Medea Hamlet. That'd be awesome.
A Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry plays
Hamlet.
Gertrude. Yeah.
Tyler Perry plays every character in Hamlet. I'd pay money to see that.
Here we go.
I know a few. Well, not.
but then you get close to what the initial point was.
Yeah, back to the original. It's comedic.
So if Hamlet would be now, he would be like a the kid of a filthy rich billionaire who makes money off of poor people's sandwich bags. I don't know.
Yeah, and falls in love with a dude in a dress.
Yeah,
who's a bit of a.
Well, falls in love. He has to go there.
Yeah.
Because it's the text is very.
But she's also rich. Ophelia.
Well, she is. Excuse me. She is also in the same hemisphere. Yeah.
Polonius was not.
Polonius is there's supposedly a Polish nobleman, so he could be a fallen nobleman hanging out at the castle there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's. So the. Just want to give you an example of what I mean. That kind of. So we're going to where the ghost appears, right?
Yeah.
So that will be
Scene 4,
Scene
Act
5.
1. Scene 5.
Scene 5. Another part of the platform overlooking the sand.
Yeah.
My hour is almost come when I two sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. This going to go to hell. Pity me not, lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, I am bound to hear. Go, so art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear. So he already, before Hamlet can make any conclusions himself, he already tells them what to do.
Yeah.
And then wink to the audience. And what? But then he used to say, I am thy father's spirit.
Yeah.
So he doesn't recognize him.
Yeah. But was he not dressed as a king though? The ghost.
He's standing right in front of him.
Yeah, true.
I am yet thy father's spirit. So this is make-believe.
Yeah.
Doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires. So he talks about hell, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he basically, but I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I could a tale unfold whose lightest sword would harrow up thy soul. So he makes it up. It makes it a little bit more fun to speak. Fun to. I mean, this is where the writing comes in. He has a lot of fun writing this kind of stuff, and we don't have sets, so this is like you have to create the environment, the atmosphere with the words.
Yeah. You need to rely more on the script, the text. And your actors suck too, right? So.
If thou ever didst fear thy father's love, revenge is foul and most unnatural murder.
So once again,
murder!
It's a little childish.
He talks to him as he talks to him as if he's not really with it.
Yeah. And then
and that's also one of the how we talk about misconceptions. So we think that because people speak like that, they're very smart because they speak. Because you have to have all those words ready.
Yeah, you see it today with people.
And that's true. If there's people out there who have a fantastic vocabulary and they can Buttigieg, for instance.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
but this is all
great articulation.
This is all created. Nobody spoke like that. This is all fake.
Yeah. Yeah, fake, but also still the articulation must have been pretty profound in some way if we're still reading it now.
Well, that's another good point. So why? First of all, it's a joy to read it. It's like a Rembrandt picture.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Rembrandt, same thing. If you look at it from up close, it's like, what the hell is this? But you look at it from a distance, you go like, this is awesome. And then also, he didn't paint these things himself. There's a whole group of people behind him, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a group effort. And not at the writings of some sort of superior being, who has never been surpassed in blah 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 blah. And which is true. There's no one else has ever done it. But anyway, so we go back to the ghost. I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Lethes wharf. Wouldst thou not stir in this? Now Hamlet, here. 'Tis given out that, sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. So the whole air of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But no, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life, now wears his crown.
Claudius.
So he...
It's that simple.
So he puts a snake in his ear, that's going to...
No, little venom in the ear.
Well,
does your ear canal connect to your brain?
No.
I think it does.
No.
I think you could poison.
Have you ever seen someone being poisoned by his
ear?
By his ear?
No, but I've never poisoned anyone.
I mean, this is like a biblical.
I've also never seen someone be poisoned. Period.
This is like a.
Yeah, the serpentine, the phallic reference of the snake.
Phallic reference, biblical reference. So it's just basically a
It's bullshit.
yeah.
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
A mockery of
Yeah.
stories. And
So imagine this guy took into the audience like, "Oh, the king was lying, and I."
Yeah. It's like one of those things where it's almost so exaggerated that it's funny.
Yeah, if you think about it, maybe he put something else in his ear. But yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, that's the level of Shakespeare. That's the level of thinking we're talking about.
So when they say we push the edge comedically nowadays, right?
Yeah.
2020 with our, with the way comedians work, the way movies are filmed and shit, we're pushing the level comedically now. You think like it ain't shit compared to Shakespeare's?
Absolutely.
Because he's putting snakes and shit. Okay.
Sticks and dicks in his ear.
And you think this whole nature of Shakespeare is meant to be so exaggerated and absurd that it becomes funny. Two people.
People who are screaming from laughter, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's why he was so famous.
Because it was a show, it was a riot more than.
If you like, for instance, take the folio and you read the introductions by Johnson and by Holland. They are like, they start writing their introductions with a smile on their face, like, well, this guy is dead now, but he made us laugh. He made us cry with laughter.
Yeah.
And so, and again, so imagine people in those days. Most of them were fairly hungry. They had no privacy. They didn't sleep well. They
drank more beer than water.
Had no teeth. Had always intestinal problems. Think about cutting your toenails, wiping your butt. Think about that. If you can't do that, what happens?
Yeah, I'd last maybe 3-4 days.
So what? Yeah. So do you think these people who go?
Well, I wouldn't wipe my butt, but I would just take a nice hot shower after I.
No showers, no bath, no soap,
Okay.
no nothing.
Well, I wouldn't cut my nails, but I'd get a nice little filing tool and I'd file them down.
There were no filing tools.
Okay, well,
There were.
I wouldn't shower, but I'd just get Febreze.
Actually, there were people that you could rent people who would gnaw off your toenails.
Wow.
Supposedly.
Now that's class.
Yeah.
Right there.
And I don't want to. Yeah. So the sewage was thrown out on the street. It was disgusting.
It was a shithole of all shitholes.
Shithole, yeah. And then people think they went to a theater and everybody was quiet and they think, oh, to be or not to be. No.
You think it was like, well, I mean, you see it now. Like the people who get the least offended and the most who kind of have the most fun and the most jokes and the most things like that are those who come from areas that aren't your pompous place.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pompous people are the ones that are normally people get offended on poor people's behalf when they're not poor themselves. If you know what I mean, it's normally people who are from, like Scotland has a better sense of humor than England, I find.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the London, or even Manchester compared to London, if you take for an example. Like, they're funnier up there. And it's more of the, obviously Manchester's a great city, it's not a shithole, but it's more of that kind of energy. So I'm imagining those kinds of lads exaggerated to match the time period.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the story of Bono, where he would clap every 6 seconds in the middle of a show in Scotland. And then he would go, every time I clap my hands, some child in Africa dies or something, and some guy in the front row just goes, then stop fucking clapping, bastard. Like that kind of sense of humor.
Exactly.
Where it's just mocking, yeah.
And the sad thing is that we have lost that whole sense of interaction in the theater. But now we go to the theater, we're supposed to be submissive to the art. And that's a shame.
Well, yeah, now it's very hard to find yourself a theater production where you're allowed to be a part of the show or interact with the show in any way.
If it's interactive, it's directed.
But if forced interaction isn't fun interaction.
No, but the other thing is that the audience itself has become
conditioned.
Phlegmatic.
Well, conditioned.
They are. I did a show once where I tried to get the audience to do things and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, because you're told when you get to the theater to sit down 15 minutes before the show starts and sit in your seat and don't take a piss. And if you even fucking nudge someone, they'll be like, shh, the rest of the audience. So it makes sense. But the way that you're describing this, not the world, but the show, sounds a lot more fun. And I think would be a more logical... I don't know if it's logical. I think I definitely still could argue that it is a bit sappy and emotional, some of these plays, and especially this one. Like, I think a lot of people today empathize with a character like Hamlet.
Well, that's the whole thing. And that shows you how life has changed.
Well, I'll just say, like, Hamlet is viewed in a lot of ways as dramatic, maybe, sensitive, maybe misunderstood, also clever. He's viewed as, I thought.
Oh no.
He's viewed as clever. Don't think in your own point of view. Think of the way it's viewed traditionally. He's pretending to be mad to distract people. Yeah. He's fucking doing this, doing that. So from a modern interpretation is that he's a clever guy who's using his creative, social skills to like manipulate people into doing what he wants. Whereas, and he's seen as like emotional and misunderstood. I think that's a character a lot of people would understand in most of modern history.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that
we can identify with that.
No. The funny thing is that the reason why that is that because a lot of clever people tried to figure out Hamlet, and they came up with the idea of what he feigned his man. So I'm looking about the book of John Dover, who responded to a guy whose name is what is his name? He responded to.
Responded to.
I should have Mr. Greg. So Greg and Dover, they are the. Oh, should we take a break?
Sure.
Okay, so we're. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Okay, I think we're running. So here's one. I just want to. Where were we? Okay.
You'd like to backtrack a little bit.
I swear.
I think we were in the second act. Or no, we were talking about.
Oh, wait, no. Here we go. Remember that the ghost comes back.
On a few occasions.
And therefore a stranger gives you the welcome, and then the ghost beneath sounds off stage, swear that you know aught of me, this not to do, so crazed and mercy at your most need help you, swear. And then this ghost goes, swear. And then the Hamlet goes like, rest, perturbed spirit. And then everybody's swearing.
Mm-hmm. And that's funny too.
That's funny, yeah.
Because they're all just swearing.
No, the only thing I think the funniest scene is the one that has been is Ophelia.
Ophelia herself or her funeral?
It's
is it when she's singing?
But she's talking to her father, and she says, ask if Hamlet is in love with her. So again, love is not love we do nowadays. No, love is
it's lust.
It's a weakness in those days. Like I should love soccer.
These days too, am I right, guys?
So, but it's no. But
women, right?
Joke. You know, but
so
this
is funny to you. This is funny to you.
So Polonius said, "Mad for their love," and Ophelia says, "My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it." And then Polonius asks, "What said he?" And then, so then he says, then Ophelia says, he took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes to the length of all his arm. So these are all like
the length of all his arm.
Yeah, this is all like phallic references.
The
wrist, heart, the length of his arm.
Okay, well, like,
and with this other hand, this over the brow. Mm-hmm.
What's the brow? The eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
You think? You think he like?
He falls to such perusal my face, as he would draw it. Long stayed he so at last, At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down. Come on.
The head is
Come
waving
on.
up and down.
Come on.
I mean, look, dude.
Come on.
It's a slight immature reading.
Totally immature. But we're talking about the 1500s.
So you're just saying there's a little sexual innuendo.
It's all.
Or a lot.
It's only sex. It's only sex.
Do you think this was like the 50 Shades of Grey of
No.
the 1500s?
No, this is like
Or like a bad sex comedy.
American Pie. Yeah.
American Pie.
Yeah. No, this is
So
like.
that's the comparison we're making. Shakespeare was the American
This
Pie.
is
of his
more in your
generation.
face. This is like totally in your face.
Well, American Pie is pretty in your face.
That's true.
A lot of tits.
Yeah, but this is no. But here there's no such no. There's no arousal. Arousal is making fun of it.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with getting people like.
It's like
"Oh,
it's
look
like
at
a
that."
dick joke. It's literally a dick joke.
Yeah, but so it's a yeah. It is a they try to stay within the limits of the rules, so they're not supposed to say certain words.
So innuendo.
So there was censorship at the time, but it's all in it all comes down to innuendo, and
Okay.
and then it's all
Would you say that's the purpose of the Ophelia character? Is
Absolutely.
just not a sexual object, but an object of comic relief for
No, it's-
in this respect.
she's part of it. She's into so she's
he.
with us. She's with the audience. So she makes
So
she
she's
makes
making
fun of his weakness.
He is making dick jokes.
Yeah, but
He
no,
who plays her.
he who plays her. Yeah, he who plays her making dick jokes about and telling what a doofus Hamlet is that he's so needy that he has to come to Ophelia to get his relief.
Yeah. Rather than just fucking
Yeah,
rub one out like a gentleman.
if you want to put it that way.
You know what I mean?
That's
like a real man does.
well, if not if you're a king, you don't have to do that yourself, you know.
Yeah, true.
But so yeah, is he in love? Is
So what?
she is his favorite customer, you know.
He has a fear of losing her, and it's not motivated by love. You think it's motivated by
No, that's what we think now. We think now it's all about love, but
Well,
it is,
yeah.
it's yeah.
There's whole acts
There's
about
no
it.
evidence whatsoever.
There's a whole act about him being driven mad by.
Oh, I'm so mad about you.
And then like Polonius says as well, he's mad with love. You know, it reminded me of Moulin Rouge, to be honest. The love will drive you mad, as does the jealousy, as does the fear of loss.
No,
and
but
betrayal.
that's so Moulin Rouge is based on
Greatest
La
movie of all
Bohème.
time.
La Bohème by Victor Hugo. So that now we're talking about
What?
the romantic period. So yeah, that was the time when romantic love became a thing.
Which was what, 1900s,
early 1800s.
early 1800s. yeah.
After the Napoleonic.
La Bohème. That whole thing. I know that's a recent song, but
That's Charles Aznavour. No,
yeah, that's the 60s.
60s. No, the La Bohème, the lifestyle of the discovery of the individual artist.
Yeah.
Goethe, the death of Werner, young Werner Nieland, what was his name? That was the first like real exploration of what love could mean to people, and it was the first time people committed suicide on a large scale just because of
Betrayal.
unrequited love.
Interesting.
So love is it's not a
It's a novel it's new.
Yeah. Where's the love in the Bible?
I mean, you could argue Mother Mary and Joseph. Joseph had to put up with.
Some other dude's kid? No.
Yeah.
Where's the love in the? There's no love in the Bible.
He's forfeiting his like better rationale for his love for Mary and the child.
No, but
What about paternal love?
it's called this love of God. The love is all, of course, and there's elements of altruism.
Love is everything.
But there's no romantic love in the
Eros,
Bible.
Eros. Well, there's a Greek word for it.
Eros but Eros was more like
Oedipus.
Dionysian love.
What about
lust.
Oedipus? Is that all lust?
Oedipus? Well, Oedipus was in love. No, he didn't. He was in love with his mom. He killed his dad, and he
Wanted to fuck his
had
mom.
sex with his mom. Yeah, you should watch that movie Freud. It's an interesting on Netflix. It's an interesting take on it. Anyway,
Okay, so the Hamlet though. So Ophelia, you find to be comically.
well, the whole play is a comedy. But
I know, but
Ophelia
I
is
mean,
it's
she's
like
contributing to your research question
absolutely.
or your hypothesis.
Yeah, because that's all. If you play it right, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But if you play it like she's a hurt woman who has to
So-
deal with this spoiled little king, that
I think her most famous scene as a character is her kind of singing in her madness through the hallways, and then when Laertes comes back from France after her dad's died, she's singing Ophelia. She's going crazy, and she's singing about how she's lost her dad and she's lost her Hamlet because he gets banished now for killing Polonius, and then
by accident, which was also a joke, killing someone by accident.
through
Come
a
on,
tapestry.
that's like cartoon humor.
Rat weasel, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what she's known for, is like being that crazy. But I was reading about this, and I read about like it's a little off topic, but like a gender studies review of Ophelia. Because the way that this was viewed was every character, the whole point of, to this person's opinion, I wish I could quote them, but I forgot their name. Their whole point was that Hamlet is a show about deception and truth, and everyone's always deceiving someone. And, you know, Polonius and Claudius are always being political and just trying to keep their power, and Hamlet has his own agenda, and they're all deceiving each other all the time, and it all culminates at the end, right? That's one interpretation of this, is an interpretation of reality versus like art and deception versus reality. And the one exception they made was Ophelia, saying that she wasn't deceptive, she was just obedient, being a woman of the time. Do you think that would make sense? Or do you think she is as she's as funny as everyone else? So I think to translate that idea to your notion, she's just as in on the joke as everyone else.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And
she's helping to bring him down.
But I don't understand. So, if I understand this correctly, all of the actors are making fun of Hamlet, and Hamlet is meant to represent the bourgeoisie.
No.
Because that's what I don't mean by he's in on.
First
the
of all,
joke.
he's represent the Danes.
The Danes. Okay, so
the objective is to.
But you mean the characters are also in on it?
Of course.
So.
Because there's an interaction between the audience, the whole idea.
Okay, so the actors and the characters independently are also all in on this joke, and then Hamlet, the actor that plays Hamlet, is also in on it, but the character of Hamlet is the butt of the joke.
Yeah, because he is the heir to the king. So if Hamlet dies, the kingdom dies.
Yeah,
that's the idea. Also, the one of the most effective dramatic tools, so to speak, is the idea of the shared secret. So everybody's in on the secret except for the one character, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here, in my opinion. And so the whole thing is just set up to have. To get rid of get rid of the kingdom, get rid of the royal family of Denmark, and or in other words, get rid of those damn billionaires.
It's like internet trolling, but back then, right? Like everyone is in on this joke except for the one being trolled.
Yeah, but that's not true. That is no.
But it's got a classist thing going on. Yeah, I think it was just a
no, because it's still a play. It's just for fun.
Yeah, it's still for sure.
So they were like, hey, this guy is going to play Hamlet, and Hamlet is the king of Denmark. He's going to be the king of Denmark,
the heir to the throne.
And how are we going to get rid of him in an elegant way? No, and then so they come up with this scheme to bring him down eventually, because he is like what I said, he's a doofus.
But in doing so, they bring themselves down as well.
No, because
Gertrude dies.
Gertrude dies.
Laertes dies.
Claudius dies.
Claudius dies.
Olivia dies.
Horatio almost dies.
Horatio almost dies. Yeah.
And then gets talked out of it.
But at the end, Fortinbras comes in.
Yeah, and
it goes
so the climax.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, the climax. Or sorry, not the climax. Just the closing is great for your theory. He wins. He gets the crown. The Danes get rid. They get rid of the Danes.
The Danes get, and also we
and the ghosts.
We as a trading people of London, we get rid of the tolls. So now because what do we get from Scandinavia? It's all our iron ore, copper ore, all that essential stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff we need.
Oil now.
Yeah, imagine the Strait of Hormuz in Iran is gonna charge every ship that goes by $1 million.
Yeah.
That's gonna raise our or whatever or
Gas prices.
or the equivalent of whatever they were asking.
Yeah.
That's gonna raise the gas prices. We're gonna get pissed at and at the same time Iran is building these luscious
Vatican-esque
luscious
palace.
palaces and what have you, and laughing at the rest of the world like, ha ha ha, look at how much money we have.
Sure.
But that's what the Danes did, because they actually were well known at the time. Like, they bought their tapestries in France, they bought their furniture in Italy, they've got paintings. I mean, they were excessively rich.
Yeah, and they apparently sent their kings to France and Denmark, or in England rather. They send Hamlet to England, and they.
Well, that's another funny side story. Like, so he went to Wittenberg for the university to go to school.
Yeah.
Which was not uncommon. It was I think Wittenberg was one of those Protestant bulwarks, and then he sent him to England, and I'm sure that was also part of a joke.
Some butt of a joke.
Yeah, because like, what the hell is he gonna do in England?
Yeah. So,
and then maybe for the audience, like, we have him. We'll take care of him.
We'll take care of him. Yeah. Send him here. See what happens.
And then the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are also kind of interesting, but these were actually names of existing families, I think those are the two names that are based on real people. All the other ones are made up.
Well, I found those two to be just kind of like plot moving agents. Hey, you go get Hamlet and bring him back here, or you deliver this message to him.
I don't know. Yeah,
that's how I viewed them.
Could be that, or that maybe they had some friends who needed the part, or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's also a part of
the
it.
name.
It's still showbiz. You know.
I think when I picture the play in a new light, there's like 4 scenes that I find hilarious. Now, one being the one I brought up earlier of them fighting in the funeral, in the grave. What's it called? The grave plot.
Yeah.
The dug grave.
Yeah. Alas, dear Yorick.
Yeah, Laertes and Hamlet. And then the second is early on when Hamlet first encounters a ghost and he has to literally chase down the ghost. To me, I'm picturing the
Benny Hill, yeah.
Yeah, the Benny Hill music playing over it. And then, I mean, we haven't really come to the climax or the falling action, but I think any scene where Claudius or Polonius is being like a little cheeky and kind of like political, if you will, deceptive, like I came to earlier, I'm now picturing it with like a little wink kind of thing, you know? Like a prank show kind of energy, you know?
Yeah.
Or like a magician, right? A magician being like, here you go, pick a card.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, we all know what the trick is except for you. So yeah, that's the one that I think. But if we just move on to the second half of the play, because we haven't even touched it.
You mean the players?
Yeah.
That's funny. The players are also a big problem for the critics.
How so? Well, I was question about that, because are the players meant to be kind of playing the role of like the chorus in a Greek show, where they're interacting in any way, or is it more of just like in this specific play?
No, I think it's. I mean, you can. In retrospect, we talk about a play within a play, or in Freud terms, a dream within a dream, as a sign of a higher truth.
Inception,
exactly, yeah. Or in Chekhov, in the sequel, there's also a play, and he uses the play as an inner truth.
Yeah.
That's how he sets it up. But funny thing is that he is trying to be all strategic. Like, if you do that, this and this, and I look at him and blah blah blah. That's how we're gonna find out. But when they come up, when the play starts, the first thing they say is like, "Oh, the king killed the other king," and blah blah blah. And it's like right in his face, and so they give away the whole plot basically.
Yeah, like not to bring this up again, but like Moulin Rouge.
Yeah,
the first scene of the movie, they tell you exactly what's gonna happen in the film. from that play, thus giving away the plot. Same
And
idea here.
So I think, and so if so, this is a.
Moulin Rouge. Best movie on the
So you
planet.
should look at it as a comedic a comedic scene. If so, Hamlet is excited about the play, and then they're gonna give away the plot, and then Hamlet goes like, "Oh shit," because he's gonna be like disappointed
Bummed out that it is.
that this plan is gonna fail.
Yeah.
And Claudius is like totally clueless because he didn't. I don't think he killed him. So
So you're a Claudius sympathizer. You're a Claudius apologist. You're a truther.
I'm an apologist.
You're a Claudius truther.
No, I don't think he.
Chemtrails exist.
I don't think he was.
The Earth is flat, and Claudius is innocent.
Claudius is innocent. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, if that makes
Free Claudius.
if that makes the universe flat, yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Because I don't. So far, I mean, he doesn't really. He has trouble with all this,
Yeah.
and so he is kind of the. He's also kind of the butt of the joke in a way.
Claudius.
Yeah.
I think in the normal or like the mainstream interpretation, obviously he's the villain, but I don't know if that makes him the butt of the joke.
Yeah, he's always presented as the villain, but I think like if you look at it from a commedia perspective, commedia dell'arte, then he would be the doctor, and he's the guy with the difficult words and with the speeches and
Yeah, so he's the mockery. He's the satire.
no, he's the guy who presents the jokes. He
Yeah.
presents he's the strict guy, the straight guy.
Yeah.
And then
The foil.
and Gertrude is the a little bit out of the kind of loopy.
Yeah, Trudy's a bit like I picture Trudy as kind of like a housewife that starts drinking her wine at like 11 in the morning. One of those women picking her kids up from school.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you're running. And then she drinks wine. Like, it's 7 in the morning.
Yeah. Exactly. That's how I picture her.
So anyway, let's go to the thing that makes Hamlet is that's the soliloquy, which is like the biggest thing every actor can do in his career.
Yeah, it's like the vagina monologues, but for men.
Yeah, exactly. The to be or not to. So you have to.
That is the question.
Yeah, but you should do it in a Danish accent.
Well, first of all, no.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
I don't even think that's a good Danish accent.
I know. It is nibbler in the mean.
That's not even English.
Oh. Like the Norseman version?
That's Norwegian.
Oh, that's true. Well, it's the same,
I think it'd be like to be or not to be. That's the question. Like very like almost German sounding.
Yeah, but this is like the summit of the English literature.
Yeah.
And oh, God forbid you have another interpretation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just do a good Danish accent. I'm not hating on your interpretation.
Not to be.
I'm hating on your your stupid accent.
But it is the nibbler in the mind to suffer the slings and
Okay,
arrows.
this is literally ear vomit.
It's bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, because
Sorry, it just sucked me.
And then the funny thing is that afterwards, like after Freud, people are like, oh, this guy was a genius. He thought about the existence of about existentialism and this and that. He was his time 400 years ahead. He's a freaking. We are all geniuses because we're English. Because and the whole thing is it's of course it's just a madman. A rambling, basically.
Well, isn't that also more or less? I thought that was more of like a suicidal thing than a existential thing. To be or not to be, that is a question. Like to be here or not be here is what I'm pondering at the moment. Hey, audience, can you give me some feedback on that? Maybe that's the way that I could interpret it.
You know what? Nobody really knows.
Well, of course,
That's why this play is because it's an enigma. That's why it has value.
Yeah.
Because now I can say, well, this is what it means. I'm very important, so listen to me. I'm going to tell you.
No
what
one
it means.
thinks you're important.
No, I'm just. I'm. I'm acting here, sort of. You know what I mean? So you have to take that thing apart and really, really do it from a person who's not very smart.
Well, I think that whole soliloquy has been exhausted in terms
Totally.
of interpretation. I think it's impossible at this point to even come with it. But I do think it does. I could see that getting a thunderous laugh and round of applause. I think.
Nowadays, but in those
No. But then as well, no, just from in terms of humor.
yeah, of course, because it's I think it's funny because it's goofy.
Yeah, there's something a little like ripe with it, you know.
Yeah,
Like when you eat a banana a little too early, and you're like, ugh, you know. Off is what I meant to come up with.
yeah. So and also it's think about Elsinore. Remember?
Yes, the
So
cast.
to be or not to be, that's the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortunes.
Mm-hmm.
Outrageous fortunes.
Very self-aware, very self-reflective.
Outrageous. So it's about money. It's about economy.
Yeah.
Or to take arms against a sea of troubles. So who are the sea of troubles? Those are the people trying to sneak by. They take up arms against the sea of troubles.
Yeah.
And by opposing them, so if you shoot them, they're never coming back. So your money dries up. That's a dilemma. So maybe it's about that. And by sleep to say we end the heartache. So you can fall asleep and let them go by. And the flesh is heir to its consummation, devoted to a wish to die, to sleep, or chance to dream. But there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil. So basically, you could interpret it as him pondering, giving up the tolls at night.
But the thing is I think the way that we're kind of discussing this is Shakespeare's pretty much made this a mockery and a joke of a play, and it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's politically based, right? It's grounded in some sort of political, maybe not even an ideology or an agenda,
Business.
but a reality.
It's about a business.
So is this possibly, and oftentimes in political comedies and specials and shit like that, there is a moment where the writer or the artist or the actors get preachy. Do you think this might be Shakespeare's preachy moment?
Oh.
Hey, I'm going to make fun of this for 95% of this, but for 5% you're going to have to sit through my little preachiness. Could this be him being preachy?
Preachy. No, I don't know if there's. I don't think preachy is the right word. I do think maybe reflective, or. So I think it's more a moment where like it's more gloating actually. Like I'm still the king of Denmark, and you guys are not. So I'm still getting your money. And so
kind of double downing.
Yeah, so we have this. If we say to be or not to be, we
Doubling down.
automatically think of a certain person in depression. To be, not to be.
Yeah.
Feel good and whatever you.
Considering their life and their worth and things like this.
You see the young Obi-Wan Kenobi. But it is. It's basically about business. You know, you guys are here to give me money. Come here. And so
it just circles back to more money.
Yeah, it's very. I think it's fairly primitive. It must have been a very primitive society. It was about sex, food, violence, money. It was a very very simple world in those days. And the whole thing, the whole reason why I'm kind of, I'm of course I'm a little bit extreme in my opinions, but the whole reason why this is in Shakespeare nowadays is so absurd, is because of the fact that they give us an impression that. In those days, people would actually, what I said before, would speak like this and understand all these texts. And they wouldn't. No way.
No, I think that's not a wicked leap for you to make. I think with a bit of kind of context, I think that makes sense. I think to close the play, because I think that soliloquy is a little run out, but to close the play, who was the actor that played Hamlet in the film? I always forget.
Which film?
The most recent, or the most famous one I watched in high school.
Mel Gibson?
I think it was Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah. Mel Gibson, and there was also one with...
I want to say Dennis, no.
There was also one
Who
with
is fucking Rain Man?
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. I thought it was him, but maybe I'm confusing him for Mel Gibson.
Dustin Hoffman was Death of a Salesman.
I know.
But
that one I know.
Maybe he probably played Hamlet in the theater at some point.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I always, because when people think of Hamlet, they think of to be or not to be, and they also think of this last scene.
And get thee to a nunnery.
Yeah. But they consider this last scene, the fencing, the
fighting scene?
the lock the doors, you know what I mean? That whole kind of energy. And it's made into a very kind of suspenseful, build rising action, build tension, and then everyone's dead, and we're all crying now. That's the way it's built up.
Yeah, but it's so you have to imagine, and there's another thing people have forgotten about.
The set definitely wasn't very nicely built.
There was no set, but they did have certain special effects. So back in the late Middle Ages, they did these passion plays, and they would show.
What's a passion play?
They would. A passion play is basically they play scenes from the Bible, and
like the Passion of the Christ.
No, not
because when I heard passion play, I immediately thought like sex show.
Oh no!
Passion play.
No, they had these plays where there were the stations. They did the basically they took parts of the Bible and so Adam and Eve and Moses and what have you, and it would end with the apocalypse.
Okay.
And they would build something which was called the mouth of hell.
The mouth of hell. The
mouth of hell, and they would have a try to make it as authentic as possible. And they believed there was fire, there were body parts, there was blood running, all that stuff. So that's I haven't found the evidence yet, but I'm 100% sure that they did it in the theater as well. So people would the fight scenes were very elaborate because it's fun to watch,
choreographed well, and
very well choreographed. And then if they would cut someone open, there would be blood running and pig organs falling out and stuff like that. So it would be like a bloody scene at the end.
Okay.
And people were like, yeah, they said like they cut his arm off, his arm would fall, his fake arm would fall off, and there was blood.
Kind of like Monty Python, but a little bit better, maybe.
Yeah, Monty Python. Yeah, there would be
like
Monty Python.
Monty Python.
Yeah, they dress up, they put the stuff underneath.
Yeah. Okay, so do you view this last scene then as kind of like giving the... I picture this last scene as like a Tarantino movie ending. Or you get that satisfaction you've been looking for. You know? Like you're built up to hate... take like Django Unchained, right? You're built up to hate these plantation owners and these slave owners. So what does Tarantino give you at the end? You get to literally watch them get like brutally massacred. Same with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You hate these Charlie Manson family kids. So what happens at the end? The most violent way to kill these kids. That's the way that I view this. Like you're literally kind of taught to laugh at these people and kind of hate them, even though they're on the joke. These fucking Danish people, and then at the end they all die.
Catharsis.
Catharsis is the word I was looking for. Exactly. They're all dead, and guess what? Denmark's gone. Now Norway's got the.
And then the guy comes in who played the ghost and goes like.
Yeah, exactly.
Dankeschön.
Yeah.
Peace has restored.
Yeah, and he just cops the crown, probably sits on the throne with like fucking old town.
Yeah, so you could see this as a people's revolution against the evil oppressors.
I guess.
A way. Yeah.
But we're not giving much context on the Norwegians. I mean, who says they're much better?
Norwegians are
the Norse.
I think the Norwegians. I think they were just. I think he used them because they were the ones who were at the time closest, and powerful, who had powerful armies. Like the Netherlands was coming up at the time, was not as important.
Yeah.
The Swedes was also these were not huge countries at the time.
Like Denmark was really running this part of Europe.
Denmark was
Denmark.
No, Denmark was not. They weren't. Again, these were.
Or can I ask a new question?
Oh, okay.
Don't think it contributed much.
No, I think it's important. Denmark is the whole thing was that Denmark did not rule Europe, and that's why it's such an anomaly to have that one gigantic castle there.
Okay.
Because of that opportunity they had.
If you press record, I'm just gonna go on this rant.
Huh?
You press record, I'm just gonna be like, what's really interesting is Denmark wasn't even running Europe.
I already pushed it.
Oh damn it! I was gonna take credit for it. Yeah, Denmark wasn't running shit, as I know, being a scholar, of history and Shakespeare and all this stuff. I think it's interesting to bring this up. Because I think Shakespeare has become very unattractive to people for the very reasons that you're disarming, if you will. That's what I think is like the most utility you can gain from this hypothesis of yours.
Oh, all right.
What?
Well, thank you.
There's like 100 plot holes I can poke, but
Yeah, there's no plot. What do you mean plot holes?
like I don't know.
No. The only thing I want to is I just want to give I just want to show an alternative universe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I also think that, my biggest bout with history is that we look back in time through like a tiny peephole, and the tiny peephole is offered to us by the elites, literally. Like we only know the only pictures we have are pictures of the elite. The only texts we have are texts created by the elites. So all the other people who couldn't read or write, and have ceased to exist without leaving anything behind. Those stories are all gone, but it doesn't mean they weren't there.
Yeah, so Shakespeare beat the system.
So Shakespeare, I think we should. There's this, so how I see it, there's this, and I look up the name of the painting. There's a Dutch painting, and you see a mirror, and the mirror, or a crystal ball, is reflecting the city of Amsterdam. So you see the painting of I think it's a person.
Yeah.
But you can, if you look at the ball or the mirror, you see a reflection, and then you can see into the city like it really was.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, we have to make up what we see, but the whole idea of like looking through a play into a society is what I want to accomplish.
So in offering alternative universe or an alternative interpretation, you're pretty much saying like, we understand history to be X because we've been taught X, but since you can't rely on textbooks for this, using the art forms and things, we can come up with interpretation Y, and that is most likely also contributing to what the real truth is.
Well, there's no real truth. But
That's what I mean. If
the
you
truth,
could find a real truth.
But this is discarded is the truth of the people.
Yeah.
We have to give Shakespeare back to the people.
And Shakespeare was one of the people.
Absolutely, yeah.
He wasn't a upper class, look down on others type of guy.
No, but that's another discussion for another time. So next time we're going to talk about Othello.
Othello.
So start reading.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet. I think I went once. I think you brought me to Othello a couple times as a kid. But
That's true. That is true.
I don't think I ever read it.
All right. Thank you for listening. This was
Cheers.
Brainwashed with Gerald and Toby.
Yay.